Hi, I'm Arjun Pasta, and I'd like to welcome you to Ruth's Craft Paper Plane Dossier. Today, I'm going to show you how to make the Seaplane paper airplane by Kyong H. For this paper airplane, you're going to need a 75 GSM printer paper with a dimension 7.3 by 4 inches into 6 inches. It's just as simple as that. Now, before we begin the folding process, I'd like to draw your attention towards the lines I made over here. The reason I made these lines is because though they look like any normal folds you do, they are actually very different. For example, over here and over here, these two lines right here, they don't meet here. They're not parallel. They actually have a bit of gap between them. Let me hold it up close. Can you see it? They're not parallel lines. Over here, if we fold along this line, we won't get over here. We're going to actually get a little bit above that mark over here. The reason I made these is because they're not particularly in the middle of the page and they're not particularly at any fixed distance from the page. They're not both equidistant from the middle. So I had to make these lines. And these two lines will help us towards the end of the model. Now let's begin the folding process. Okay, to begin we are going to take our sheet colored side up if you plan on using colored paper, and we are going to fold along these two lines. So first I'm going to take this, turn it over and press it along the line we've made. Again, sometimes when we're doing backward folds like this, just keep pinching along this line on both ends, and when you're confident, set the paper down, hold your fingers for support, and 1, 2, 3, crease. Now we're going to repeat the same for the other side. We're going to take this and just pinch along the edges right here. And when we're confident, we're going to set the paper down, and 1, 2, 3, crease. Now we're going to fold down along this line we made over here. Up close, it's this line. Now we're going to turn our model upside down and press along here, just keep pinching along the ends. So you can see here it doesn't completely go to the ends, just a little bit above. That's why we had to make this line. That's why we had to make the lines from here and here too, because they're not parallel to the middle line here. Now we're going to turn our paper over, and we should roughly have something like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this side and fold it towards the center. It sounds a bit tricky, but I'll show you how to do it now. It's really very easy. I'm going to take this, hold this bit here, and fold it to the middle. Again, pinch, 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 pinch. And when you're confident, turn your paper in a certain way. Take your finger, 1, 2, 3, and crease. Same for the other side. I'm going to take this bit and move it to the center. Just keep pulling that edge, then pinch, 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 pinch till we reach the end. Then turn the paper over, hold the fingers for support. 1, 2, 3, crease. So you should roughly have something like that here, something like this. Right now, I'm going to turn our paper over, and you're going to notice that we made these lines. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this line right here and fold along this. Just pinch, 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 pinch. Then when you're confident, one finger for the creasing and the others for support. 1, 2, 3, creased. Now we're gonna do more or less the same thing with this, but on the other side. Just lift that up and just make sure that it's coming along correctly with every pinch by just opening this up. You have to put a little force every time you pinch so that you don't pinch it over and over again after lifting it up. Right? When you're confident, hold your fingers for support. 1, 2, 3 and crease. So you should have something that looks roughly like this. Now we're going to take this corner right here and fold along this line. So we're going to take that and fold along this line. Just let it rest. So it's going to look something roughly like this. I repeat the same thing. This along this crease. Just fold it there. No need to make pinches because it's a very small crease. Just put pressure on it, press it down. Now we're gonna turn our paper over, lift this up. Now we're gonna turn our paper over and try and push these parts inwards. Now we're gonna take this, fold it one more time on this side, unfold one more time on this side, fold, just let it rest for some time so it gets a little more shape and it holds a bit better. Has it rested enough? Good. Now we're gonna see this here, this line right here. We have to make a parallel pinch along this. So roughly something like that. Make a pinch along that line. Yeah, it's roughly come. Now we do the same for the other side. Rough pinch along that line. Like that. So you should get these two pinches. Now, this being the top side, we're gonna take this, slide our finger underneath and squash like that, and it's come. Now if you didn't get how you do that, you can rewind the video a bit and see how we did it. But it's really simple. So we take our finger under this pocket, just press this and just squash it down. It should come easy because of the creases we made in that step. Now we're gonna take this right here, the triangle, and fold on the other side on the creased end here. Same applies for the other side. Fold it on the creased end here. Like that, just press it down. Yeah, you should get something that roughly looks like that. Now we're going to take this and just fold it in half like this. Right? Just take it and fold it in half. Then you will notice that the creases we made here are nice and visible, and we're going to fold along those lines. Okay, just pinch along those lines. And pinch, pinch, pinch. Since it's the wing, we don't do too much of a crease, otherwise we flatten out the wing too much and it doesn't come in a nice straight line where it should come in. So no creasing, only firm pinching at the max. And I suggest you take a little bit more time in the nose if it isn't coming properly, since it's a very thick part of the paper. And just pressing unintended creases here down, like that, and then fold these parts up a bit. And now we're gonna make sort of crease from here to here. It's simple really. We're gonna take a pencil here, nice brand new Staler pencil I got here, and we're gonna take a scale and we're gonna make a line from this crease right here to here with a scale. Then we just take a pencil and then just draw over it a few times. Yeah, it should come like that. Then same thing for the other side, same rule follows. From one end here to another. So we just take our pencil, pinpoint it at the location there, and draw a nice line over here. You may have to take it a few times with lower HB pencils. You might have to take it a few times for it to come nice and dark. But in the end, it's very much worth it. And we're gonna keep our tools aside and get back to the main folding part. Now what we're actually going to do is we're going to fold along these lines. So we're going to take our paper and just roughly fold along this crease, right? So something like that on this side. Just come like that. Now we unfold it, do the same for the other side here. It should come pretty easy though, because we already folded once on that side, right? So again, it looks like this. Now we put it back. Then we're gonna take our paper plane again and unfold it. This time we open it up a bit, and this part right here, the middle with the creases, actually just gonna try and push that up. It's gonna take a few times to do this, but if you want it to be easy, just take this right here, try and make a very nice triangle for it, keep folding down on lines. If you fold a lot of origami, this is just how you do the sink fold. So yeah, it should roughly be like that. When we unfold the wings a bit, we should roughly have a structure like this. Now we open up the plane a bit and we're going to fold these down. So it's like landing gear for the plane, right? Then we just leave it to sit, because now we're going to fold a few creases here and here, and maybe even make slits. Has it sit and rested long enough? Good. Now you must notice I have made a few lines here and here, here and here. Now they're gonna help us when we make the elevators and the rudders. So we're gonna again take one wing and fold along the rudder. It doesn't matter what measurement you fold the rudder at all. It just matters that it's symmetrical on both sides. So one rudder completed, same thing for the other rudder. So you just have to make sure that again they're symmetrical. If they're not symmetrical, then it doesn't fly that well. Like that. So you have to be very sure when you fold it. Don't want too many creases coming along this, because once if it starts drooping too much or going too high, if you try and unfold it, you can unfold it along a different line. It's going to take a long time to realize what happened. So that's not very convenient. Now over here, made a few slots for the elevators. They are completely optional, but I recommend that you make them if you have a scissor or cutter lying around in your house. I'm gonna take it and just make one, two slits, one, two slits, like that. And you have finished making the paper airplane. Now I'm going to show you a designed version of the same paper airplane. And this is what a designed version of the same paper airplane looks like. A few ideas to try would be maybe put a few glass paneling details here for a realistic cockpit. And you notice that there's a thick crease line we made here. This being the nose or the main part of the fuselage, and maybe this being the afterburner, just like another layer which has been put on to the fuselage. Though it's not very big, it would look great if you made a contrast. Dark color here and chrome detailing here. You can even color the elevators in a different color. And even this rudder here, the main rudder, can be colored completely contrasting color to this part or the afterburner of this plane, as I like to call it. The other secondary rudders here can have military labels CL418, or it can be even written as flying boat, which was the earlier name for military seaplanes. Here you can put a star and maybe put a nationality sign, or you can just let it be neutral and put any design you like. It's really up to you. And for our little landing gear sort of storages here, we can put them in a very bold color, maybe even the same ones as the elevator. And now we're going to commence our flight test. And now we are going to commence a test flight. For nice, long, smooth and even flight, I recommend that you hold the plane over here where the afterburner begins and launch it at a slow, medium and a fast speed. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. And that is what your nice, long, smooth and even flight should look like. As you can see, it's gone quite the distance, and if you got your folds right, it should go nice and long. Now, as promised, I have launched this plane at medium and fast speeds off camera and have come to one specific conclusion. You've made a real life seaplane out of paper. Now, there are two main reasons of this, both concerning the afterburner. The first point would be just think, what is the one special thing about seaplanes that most normal planes don't have? That's right, the ability to stay afloat on water. Now, the afterburner or the silver part for me does the same thing, except the nose is the weight of the plane. That's what brings it down, right? And the afterburner is the longer part. So instead of just letting this come down really fast, it helps keep the plane afloat, and the weight here helps it glide forward while coming through. So it just glides on air like you would expect a seaplane to land on water. The second point is that this plane has the incredible ability to gain tons of lift. Lift is actually the ability of a plane to lift itself off the ground before slowly coming to descend. And this is exactly what the afterburner does. Let me explain in a simpler manner. The nose or the thick part here helps it to go down, right? It helps it to go down and descend, and it's a shorter part of the plane. But the afterburner, the silver part for me, is a longer part of the plane and it's very thin. So it helps the plane glide. Now, the combination of the nose to bring it down and the afterburner to make it stay up allows it to glide across a distance for a very long time before gently settling down on the ground. Just like you would explain a seaplane to land in water. Now, if you would like to test this, I recommend you go to like a really, really high place, like the top of a building, like that high. But some of you must be thinking, hey, I don't have a top of a building. Where am I going to test this? Yes, Actually, a pretty simple solution for that. Just hold your plane right near the middle of the whole fuselage here, like I mentioned in the test launch, and literally let the plane fall out of your fingers, right? What you're going to notice is that first it goes down dramatically and you're going to think, oh no, it doesn't work. But here's the thing, this is where the afterburner has its effect. The afterburner pulls the whole thing up, and then again it's going to rise a bit, and then it's going to smoothly descend and touch the ground. Oh, and in case you were wondering, an afterburner is an additional combustion component used on some jet engines, mostly those on military supersonic aircraft. Its purpose is to increase thrust, usually for supersonic flight, takeoff, and combat. But in the world of paper airplanes, not only do they generate thrust, but they also generate some amount of lift, which keeps them airborne for longer. And now we are coming to an end of this video where I'm going to give you a few golden rules about using this plane. The first golden rule is that when launching this plane in very high wind speed conditions, always hold it by the middle of the fuselage, like somewhere over here, not too far back, not too far front, and launch at a slow or medium speed depending on how fast you want it to go and how high you want it to climb. The second golden rule is that when launching this plane in low or no wind speed conditions, always hold it near the middle here and launch at a slow speed so it can fly for a long time and doesn't climb too high and hit the roof. The third golden rule is that if you plan on launching this plane at fast speed, fold the wings down to achieve a negative dihedral. That means the wings are more down than up. And remember, if your target is 90 degrees straight in front of you, always throw it a bit to the left or a bit to the right. Never make it go straight, because the thing about this plane is that if you launch at a very fast speed, it's going to curve its flight path, meaning the direction in which it flies in is going to change in a certain direction. So always launch a bit away from where you want it to land. The fourth golden rule is that even though the flaps here and the elevators are optional, I recommend you make them anyway, because they're one of the big reasons that the afterburner, silver part for me, makes the plane fly that long. And also, it's not very hard to make. Just measure 0.5 centimeter into each wing here and here and fold along that line. For the elevators, it's also a pretty simple process. Just make slits here as deep as you want it to go into the afterburner and as wide as you want it to be. Just make sure that they're in the same position on both sides. The fifth and final golden rule is to always have tons of fun playing with these paper airplanes, and to feel free to share this video with other people so that they too can experience the joy of making and flying paper airplanes. And always remember, play safe and play fair. Thank you for joining me today. See you next time.